Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of the Daily Cannon Tactics Board. Stephen Bradley here, bringing you the tactical tweaks and quirks that came from Arsenal's mm, faltering title challenge. Is is it too soon to say that? Now that they're only second in the league, joint top with Manchester City, maybe not. But the last three games, Arsenal have pretty much run into almost three blue brick walls. And over the next 15-20 minutes, I'll be using the City game from Wednesday night to show exactly what problems Arsenal are facing right now and how I think I can fix them. But maybe more importantly, how Arsenal somehow played the worst Manchester City side for 6 years, and yet, because of that, City might win the league because of it. And to explain, and before I do anything, let me fix the fact that I can't spell City. It is very important to point out that Pep Guardiola completely pepped. And what I mean by that we said when he changes formations for no good reason. He played 3-2-4-1 against Villa on Sunday. And most of us thought that this was in preparation for the Arsenal game Wednesday night, and we were proved correct. And the reason why he wants to play 3-4-2-1 is because attacking, when they have the ball, they play 3-4-2-1, 3-2-4-1. And for some reason, it's got into his head that if he's going to play 3-2-4-1, then he might as well play players that fit in a 3-2-4-1. So, Kyle Walker, who can play three in the back as we've seen for England, Ruben Diaz, Nathan Ake, and you're like, okay, there's three centre backs. But from there, it goes mad. Bernardo Silva as a deep line defensive midfielder. Number one. Like, we've seen him play, centre mid from times, but this was another stage further. And yes, it's got Mahrez right wing, Grealish left wing, Gundogan, De Bruyne, playing through the channels, and the best number 9 in the world playing up front. But what it is intended to do is get good players in good positions and play the way City want to play without messing around in game, where they can line up like this and then defending they can, scoot across a little bit and just try to, maintain their defensive positions like they always do, which means Bernardo Silva playing left back occasionally. It's almost like a reverse Zinchenko, where instead of playing a midfielder at left back, you're playing you're actually playing him in midfield. You're actually just committing to it. You're like, no, we're not going to play the left back. Screw it. We're just going to play a midfielder. And it's interesting because this didn't work. Like when City were trying to press Arsenal, legitimately at times, they were pressing them like this, and I go back. I maybe I'm showing my age here, but when they were pressing like the Mighty Ducks. Like, it was the Mighty V. It was insane. Like they were going across like this, trying to get Zinchenko off the ball, 5 and goals like this, and Arsenal found it, frankly, rather easy just to pass round it and get the ball to Odegaard and get the ball to Xhaka and get the ball to Jorginho, just because Silva didn't know whether to push forward or maintain proximity with Xhaka. Rodri always holds, and Walker was there. So, and Mahrez isn't the best defender at the best of time anyway, so he was often not closing too much on Zinchenko. So Zinchenko was getting forward, even when Arsenal were building up. Zinchenko was often getting the ball here and seeing gaps and it going to Xhaka, and it took 20 minutes. But once Arsenal figured out that the gap between Gundogan and Mahrez was always gaping, it would be past to Xhaka, Xhaka would be off, and it was 6-on-5. And it would take Gundogan and Grealish and De Bruyne getting back quickly, stopping Arsenal in their tracks. But, Ruben Diaz playing an excellent man-marking role in Nketiah, and Martinelli not being able to get away from the fastest fullback in the world. It just showed, Xhaka wasn't able to get the balls into dangerous positions from here. And he hasn't been great since the start of the World Cup, and he's not been alone. Neither has Martinelli. Zinchenko's been okay. This whole left side has been rather impotent, is what I want of a better word, since the World Cup came out. A lot of the focus has been on how good Saka has been. But Arsenal, even after City scored, Arsenal found it repeatedly easy to get here quickly. And they would go back into their usual formations, again, 3-2-5, what City were trying to do, and they would get the ball out in here rather easily. Gundogan wasn't closing up, De Bruyne wasn't closing up, Mahrez wasn't closing up, and they would get the ball into Odegaard and into Xhaka. But from there, if the ball went left, it would come back because Martinelli couldn't get by Walker. And if it went right, then Silva just kicked Saka. Did it 4 times. It took the 4th one until he got booked. But that's all he could do. And Arsenal would find repeated joy in and around this area, with Grealish not tracking back, where they were able to create little triangles. Jorginho would fill in here too. And they were able to, get the ball here, get past Silva. Ake would come in and get the ball to here, but then the ball would go to here and then a misplaced pass, or no runners, especially no runners in behind, and the ball would go back and it'd go back to Zinchenko and go back again. And Arsenal found themselves repeating this position again and again in the first half, where they'd get the ball to here and then find themselves almost with no ball because Saka wasn't running in behind because he was coming deep for the ball. Tomiyasu doesn't make that run. And they found themselves passing like this in this hue. But again, they were getting chances. They were still able to create an overlap here. They were still able to create almost a 3-on-2 here, where Rodri would try and keep an eye on Odegaard, where Xhaka would be free, but only be able to create half chances of it. They had one good chance from here from across in the first half that got to Nketiah, and he missed, and we'll talk about that later. But Arsenal were doing enough to create half chances and put City under enough pressure so that City played in a way that they had never played before. And it's mad, but because City have never played this way before, Pep said it himself in the first half, there was only one team playing football, it was Arsenal. And it was primarily because City could not get the ball out of their own area. It was bizarre to watch the best ball passing team in Europe, one of the best ball progression teams we've ever seen play, resort again and again and again to aimless long balls to Haaland from the goalkeeper because they had nothing on. Ederson would look at this and he would think, I've no ball. I've nowhere to pass the ball to. What do I do? And repeatedly it would be forced long. And look at this for a heat map for Manchester City. This is bizarre. This is Bizarro World City, where you usually expect them this to be green, this to be almost red here. A bit like Arsenal here, where you see they've got the ball outside their own box, they're able to get it into that centre right half position. City couldn't do jack. It was boof, boof, and like I said, for 45 minutes, City could not get the ball up the field, except for when they knocked it up long to Haaland, because that's literally all was on. But because of that, we might have helped them stumble onto something. We might have helped Manchester City stumble onto an exceptionally effective plan B, which is basically, if you can't play like City, play like Stoke. Because what City realised they could do, and it's the most simplistic football tactic in the world, but it has been around since day one, and it keeps working, so it'll keep staying around. and it is lump the ball up to the your big man and chase second balls. Haaland is not a particularly good big man. He is not one of he's not one of those players where you'd say like controlling ball in the box. He's insane as his touch for the third goal shows. But when it comes to actually link up play, using his frame, using little knockdowns with his head, he's not what you would say he's a very light touch for a big man. He is clunky. Look, he's huge. And he has physical attributes for a big man, but they are all speed. They're all getting in behind, as he showed for when again, big long ball beats Gabriel and wins a penalty. He was called offside for it, but City scored 3 goals against Arsenal, not because they were able to pass around the back, not because they were able to beat people off the dribble, not because Pep drew up some master formation that allowed his side to have overlaps left, right, and centre. He got City into positions where they could score because the ball would be hit to Haaland. Haaland would miscontrol it, and it would go to Tomiyasu. And then De Bruyne would do this, Silva would do this, Roger would do this, Haaland would do this. And suddenly, through no sense of finesse or any sense of technique or anything like that, suddenly Tomiyasu's in trouble. It happened 40 seconds into the game. Big long ball, miscontrolled it. Tomiyasu turns around, of 3 blue shirts. He nearly passed it to De Bruyne a minute in. 20 minutes later, the exact same thing happens again. Big long ball from Ederson. Haaland tries to control it, doesn't control it, scampers off wide. Tomiyasu chases it down. Grealish and De Bruyne follow him. Takes a bad bounce. Tomiyasu tries to hit a left-footed cross to Ramsdale. De Bruyne gets there first, and it's 1-0. It's nothing subtle. It's just like I say, it's just park football. It's long ball down the channel and hope for the best. And the second goal was exactly the same, except the other side. Haaland's here, knocks the ball down. Zinchenko tries to get the ball out. Again, runs into a brick wall. Gundogan gets the ball, goes to Haaland. Saliba comes across, goes to De Bruyne, tries to cover across. Tomiyasu tries to cover across. Grealish is all free himself. And he's 1-1. And Tomiyasu does get a decent block in, but the block almost takes it away from Ramsdale. And it goes in and it's 2-1. But again, it was down to the fact that it was just a dirty long ball down, miscontrolled. Zinchenko gets caught. And all of a sudden, City are this. It's, 5-4. And if you're Mikel Arteta, you must be tearing your hair out of this because you prepare for everything. You prepare for little nuances. Like, yes, Silva playing, maybe he's a centre mid, but certainly not as a centre mid, as a left back, as a Zinchenko, copy, except the other way around. Except not a left back playing centre midfielder, but centre midfielder playing left back. You can prepare for that. You can't prepare Manchester City to turn up and just lump the ball. City versus Manchester. Let me just illustrate how differently City played against Arsenal. This was the Villa game the previous Sunday. 558 passes. 558. Right? Do you know how many it was against Arsenal? 3 days later, same formation. 219. 40%. That's an insane. This is the lowest number since Pep took over at Manchester City. Is the lowest number since City in a decade. They just couldn't pass it out the back, so they stopped. They just went. They just hit it to Haaland, got it into the channels, and chased it down. Third goal goes to Gabriel. Gabriel tries to make a pass. Give me Gundogan. Gets picked off by Rodri. Same thing happens again. This time De Bruyne gets in here. Gabriel's trying to get back. They're all trying to get back. Saliba's here. De Bruyne finds the gap in between. Saliba covers him. Tomiyasu covers him. Gets the ball into Haaland, and Haaland scores. Like, it's just another long ball in. Another not hopeless, but aimless long ball. Designed to get the ball into a position where basically City can do this. Where they can get the ball here, swarm you. Like this is Tony Pulis stuff. This is it's not even Sean Dyche stuff, but it's of that ilk. And he does it. Pep Guardiola doesn't play this way. They literally found this out to be working 2 minutes into playing Arsenal. And when I say pepped at the start of the video, when he's playing, like I said, this was not working defensively. At some stage, Arsenal were going to find a way through. It was only going to be a matter of time because this left hand side was just walking through Manchester City's defense. Well, defense, and Pep basically unpepped. He took off Mahrez and he brought on a Kanji, and he did the revolutionary thing of playing a centre back at centre back. And yes, Ake is a centre back, but he's a left-footed centre back, and played Rodri, Silva, De Bruyne on the right, Gundogan on the and Grealish on the left. And anytime Arsenal did have the ball, they sat in and did this and just went, okay, now pass through us. Nothing complicated, just like I said, no need for a press. They just said, right, okay, we're just going to stop you. We're going to stop you doing this. Again, for all of the second half, Arsenal did nothing in the middle. Why? Because De Bruyne is a better tracker back than Mahrez. Rodri's maybe the best defensive midfielder in the league. Diaz now can leave his position. He can now step forward a bit more and just roam a little bit because now he's got someone to help with Nketiah. And again, Kyle Walker did a brilliant job man marking Martinelli. It's to the point where Trossard had to come on again. But the difference, again, it's little details in this game. The difference was the strikers. It's, again, big chances missed, 4 Arsenal, big chances missed 2. But, like, Haaland's goal, 11.11 XG. So he scores that 1 in 8 times. Last minute, but Nketiah has a great chance. That's the header he missed in the 22nd minute. Like, I'm being harsh, but these are the misses that you can't afford. You're 7 yards out, you're unmarked, free header. You have to score them. But 0.29 for an XG. Like that, again, you were twice as likely to score from there as Haaland was to score from there. That you can't have that. And this is where Arsenal are missing the likes of a Jesus, because Nketiah, for all his work rate, for all his willingness to run, like he's getting the ball more in the centre spot, the centre circle, than he is linking up play. Like Arsenal, again, they were able to get the ball here and able to get the ball here, but again, look what they're doing in the middle. Nothing. For Arsenal to take that next step, to go from being able to compete with City to being able to beat them, when they get their chances in here, they need to take them. And they need a player of Gabriel Jesus' ability to be able to be free here and create. Because without that, against a City team, even a City team that's doing this, you know, you're playing with 10 men, and like I said, for 45 minutes, well, for an hour actually, City were lining up like this, and Arsenal had do, 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 10 shots in the game. They'd one on. There it is. It is as simple as that. So, what can Arsenal do? For me, couple of things. Jacka needs a break. You just gotta rest him. You just to give him his chance for him to get his legs back. Like Arsenal since the United game have been running on fumes for the last 10-15 minutes of games. It shows. I would move Zinchenko here, and I would play Kieran Tierney, just because he is a far better runner than Zinchenko, and it would give Zinchenko the freedom to not worry about playing left back. And I would move Martinelli in here, and I would play Trossard. And it's just, again, it's just to get someone in here that will run, that is a threat running with the ball. That Nketiah isn't, and with that, being able to give someone who can beat the defender in the middle of the park just takes that little bit of pressure off an Odegaard, who's also struggling for form, because there's no one running in the back, no one making those passes, those runs in behind for him to find. I think Ben White immediately comes back into the game, not because Tomiyasu made a mistake, but they need his passing. They need his long balls. They need him to be another outlet. And if you're not going to play Ben White at centre back, I wouldn't be at all against playing Tomiyasu there for a game or two, just to give Gabriel a break, because he's been poor for 3 or 4 months, 3 or 4 weeks as well. And look, this doesn't lie, right? Arsenal, game in hand, they're 3 points clear again. They're still 10 points clear Newcastle in fourth. They're still 12 points clear Tottenham in fifth. There's still plenty of scope, plenty of room for Arsenal to improve and get their title chances back on track. But they need to beat Villa Saturday morning. Fingers hope they have. If you did enjoy this video, please leave a like on it. Any sort of support helps the channel grow as always. If you did see something during the games that I missed, feel free to leave a comment down below. We have a great community of people who love talking about the games. If I did more videos, they'd do more talking. That's on me. And if you do want these videos in your inbox on a regular basis, hit the bell to subscribe, and they will be in your inbox as soon as they are recorded. Arsenal need a win, and I need some coffee. We will be with you next time, viewer. Cheers.